Welcome to CTC Union Technology's YouTube support channel. In this video, we will show a recovery procedure for the FRM220 NMC release version 3. Okay, so this is my NMC-R3 card. I'm going to put it in the chassis, and I'm going to connect console port. And I'm also going to connect to my LAN. Okay. Now we've got our device connected. I'm using PuTTY as my console, and I'm connecting it to 115.2K. And I'm going to power on the chassis. And here we've got this error, invalid zip file. So what we're going to do is going to completely recover this NMC card. And this is an NMC-R3. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to go to our network settings. And I'm going to set an IP address as this 192.168.1.2, and I don't need any gateway. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because that's the default TFTP IP address in the bootloader. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the bootloader. And to do that, we power off our chassis again. What we want to do is when we see the decompressing wait a moment message, immediately hit Shift 7. This is the bootloader 3.0. This means this is an NMC-R3. If you don't have an NMC-R3, then don't do this procedure. You have to do the procedure using firmware for NMC-R2. So what we can see here is our device IP address is 1.1. Our TFTP server is 1.2, which is now our PC that we're operating on. And the kernel and file system names are the generic kernel and ROM FS with a .gz appended. That's a gzipped. It's a Linux compressed file. It's very similar to a zip file which we would see on Windows. Go to our extracted firmware folder. Now this is for version 5.44. This is the latest release. Downloaded, unzipped from our website. To make it a little easier, I'm going to copy these, and I'm going to do a quick rename. So it is just ROM FS, and we'll do the same thing. I'm using Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste. So now I've got a kernel and a ROM. Now let's start our TFTP server. Come up here, check and make sure we're using the right IP address. And if there's a firewall pop-up, allow that on the, at least on the private network, on the home or work network. Now that our TFTP server is running, what we're going to want to do here is check and make sure we have a connection to the and so far we're not getting a, and that's because we're in the bootloader. Let's erase the flash completely so that we're starting with no, I mean, obviously the flash is corrupt. Let's completely erase it. So we use the clnb command. And we're going to just delete all of the kernel and file system blocks. This leaves then only the bootloader. Now, if we lose the bootloader, then this is a brick device. No way to recover without changing the flash chip. But at this point, we can use the bootloader to completely erase all of the flash except for the bootloader itself. And then we can flash on the kernel and then flash on the file system. This is a two-step process. We need the kernel, which contains the Linux operating system. And then we need the file system, which has all of the programming for managing the FRM220 chassis. Now, the NMC-R3 has a much larger flash than NMC-R2. It has actually double the flash. Now that the flash has been completely cleaned, let's do item 7. Do TFTP and flash the kernel image. So here we go, 7. There, now the interface is negotiated, and we can see that we're getting a ping. The image has been transferred. I believe it's already transferred. The kernel's not that large. So now let's do the file system. This would be item 8. And now it's downloading the quite large image. Almost it's 3.6 megabyte. And now we're programming the flash. And during the flash programming, the host is no longer responding to ping. We'll just wait for it. But this will give you a real-time look at exactly what's involved in upgrading and how long it takes to upgrade. As we see here, the boot prompt has come back and we're pinging the device again. Now both the kernel and the file system should be okay. Let's do 0, which is a system restart, and we're going to let it completely decompress this time. We're starting to get some boot up. We've already got network access. That's because it just happens that I'm using the same IP address on this, which is the default IP address, 192.168.1.1. And there you can see that we're in a 4-slot chassis and the version is 5.44. And now the NMC has been completely recovered. And if you want to change the IP address, you can do L, the SNMP system configuration. That's where you can change the IP address, the gateway, blah, 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 blah. And we can also do SNMP settings, setting the manager, etc. And if you go to N, that's the trap none of that was lost because that's in a double E. That's not in the flash. All of the settings that are done under the SNMP system and SNMP manager are all within the double E. Now, and that's why we have another recovery program. If you lose the password's stored in the double E, and we have a recovery kernel, which will, well, a recovery file system, which will erase that double E. And then you need to go and completely do a reflash. So anyway, this is the recovery. And if you still get an error message when booting up after successfully flashing the kernel and the file system, then it's most likely the flash chip itself is damaged. And that will require a factory RMA to fix. This completes this very quick tutorial. Thank you.